Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Daf Nun. We begin a brand new parak right in the middle of the Amud. Says the Mishnah, Rabban Gamliel Omer, Ein get achar get, v'loi ma'amar achar ma'amar. We know that typically there are two options for a Yevama, either chalitza or yibum. That's Minat Torah. Midrabanan, even a get can affect the Yevama and disqualify her from yibum. As we're going to see in the Gemara, it's because it is reminiscent of chalitza. It can be confused with chalitza. Get, midrabanan, has the same effect as chalitza, or similar effect. Likewise, ma'amar, which is another way of saying kiddushin, like kiddushin of giving her money, writing a shtar kiddushin to the Yevama. There as well, midrabanan, we treat it similar to yibum, to bia, because it's reminiscent of bia. It's bringing her in, bringing her closer, and therefore it is regarded as something similar in value to yibum. So bottom line is, just as chalitza disqualifies her, disconnects her, dissolves the zika, her yibum bond, her yibum obligations, likewise midrabanan, a get will have a similar effect. Once he gives her a get, he can no longer be miyabim her, or, for that matter, anybody in her household. Because remember, the whole concept of yibum and chalitza is to address the family. And once get was done to any one of those yivamas, everybody is disqualified from yibum. Of course, again, this is midrabanan. And likewise, ma'amar, this type of kiddushin, is considered a valid and effective method of designating a Yevama. We treat it similar to Yibam, in which case once you do it to one Yevama, that's it, she becomes your Yevama, in which case you can no longer approach her contemporary wives, the other Yevamas who are awaiting Yibam. So that's the concept behind the Mishnah. We're going to have many scenarios, many variations and combinations of all these processes. Yibum, chalitza, get, mamar, 4 in total, how they interact with each other. And the Gemara, of course, will go into the reasons and the explanations behind the gzeiros and why we treat each thing the way we do. Okay, let's begin. Rabban Gamliel Omer, ein get achar get. Let's say he repeats the process. He duplicates the process. He does a get to one Yevama and another get to the next Yevama. It's worthless. Why? Because mimon avshach. One's get is considered a disconnector. That's it. It's done. You can't go ahead and do another get to the next Yevama. In which case we don't treat her as a divorcee, in which case you can still marry her relatives. It's not as though you gave her a get. Ain't get achar get. You can't repeat get twice. V'loi ma'amar achar ma'amar. Same with the positive element of ma'amar. Once you do ma'amar to one Yevama, you can't approach the other one and do the same. You can't duplicate the process. If it's a different process, like ma'amar to one and get to the other, we're going to discuss that in a minute. Yeah, that can have an effect. That can have an impact. But duplication, that's worthless. The same thing with be'ila and chalitza. V'loi be'ila achar be'ila. If he does be'ila to Rachel and again to Leah, there's no connection there. There's no impact. He's not married to Leah. He still can marry her relatives. It's worthless. We treat it as though it never happened. V'loi chalitza achar chalitza, likewise with a double chalitza. That's Rabban Gamliel. You can't duplicate. You can duplicate. And the Gemara will explain the reason for this. Yesh get achar get. Yesh ma'amar achar ma'amar. Get and ma'amar can be duplicated, and each one has an effect and has an impact. But not be'ila and chalitza, because those are minhat Torah. And once you do that, it's over. Avaloi achar be'ila. Valoi achar chalitza klum. If he was boyel, Rachel, lived with her as married, it's over. Doing so to Leah afterwards has no effect. She's no longer Yevama. Yevama is done. Same thing with after Chalitza. Okay, that's the short introduction to the Mishnah. Ketzad. Let's ignore this particular machlokes for a while. Let's put it aside. And let's go down to the basic halacha. That just as chalitza disconnects and yibum connects min haTorah, likewise midrabanan. Similar processes have similar effects. Mamar makes some sort of connection, and get some sort of disconnection. Okay, so how does this pan out? Ketzad. Rashi explains. The first part of the Mishnah is describing one yavam with one yevama. Okay? And he did as follows. Also mamar b'yivimtoi. He did all these things to the same yevama. He started with mamar. Or in the next section, he had started with a get. Or the next section, he started with chalitza. And the final variation, he started with bia. We're going to go through all 4 different categories and various variations within each category. Reuven passed away, leaving Rachel behind. Shimon is the yavam. He approaches Rachel. He does mamar to sort of designate her, to make them sort of connection. Also mamar b'yivimtoi. And then he goes ahead and he gives her a get to undo that connection. V'nasan la get. Fine, but she's not done. Because mamar, get, don't really address zika min haTorah. It's not really the proper process meant to be applied to a yavam. It's richaymen chalitza. She still needs chalitza to undo the zika. Undo the yibum obligation. Okay, fairly simple. What about if he started with mamar and then followed with chalitza? Also mamar v'chalitza. Okay, chalitza should address the zika, the fact that she's bound to yibum. But what about the fact that he did mamar? What's going to undo that? Tzricha menu get. She needs also a get to delete the mamar. What if it was asar mamar or baal? He was mekadosh and then lived with her as married. That's perfect. Harizuki mitzvasa. That works. That's a perfect yibum. Okay, so we discussed mamar, which was followed by get, by chalitza, by bia, right? All different variations. Let's move on to the next category. He initiated with a get, and then followed with something else. Nasan get, to sort of disconnect her. And now he can no longer do yibum. As we explained, the Rabbanan treated a get like some sort of semi-chalitza. It creates that disconnect and disqualifies them from yibum. Nasan get, and then v'asa mamar. He added mamar, which reconnected. Tzricha get. She needs a get to address the mamar, to remove that connection. V'chalitza, and of course she needs a chalitza to address the zikas yibum. Nasan get ubal. He started with a get, which made that disconnect, and then he approached her and lived with her as married. Which doesn't really carry that much value because it's after the get which made that disconnect, which disqualified her from yibum, midrabanan. So what does she need? Tzricha get. The get is needed to address the baal. V'chalitza to address the zika, which was not really addressed properly, with a proper yibum. What if nasan get v'chalatz? He started with a get, disconnected somewhat, and then he says, you know what? Let me do a chalitza. It's over. He's arrived at his final destination. The buck stops there. Ein acha chalitza klum. Once he does a chalitza, it's over. There's no need to follow with anything else. It's over. Next category. He started with chalitza. So until now we discussed initiating with mamar and followed with something else. Initiating with a get, followed with something else. Now we're starting with chalitza. Chalatz v'asar mamar. First thing was chalitza, and he followed with a mamar. Or he followed with a get, or baal, nasan get or baal. Or alternatively, he started with yibum, or baal, and then followed with something else, v'asar mamar, or nasan get, or v'chalatz. In these 2 recent cases, since he started with a chalitza, or alternatively, he started with a yibum, it's over. That's the final word. Einacha chalitza klum. After chalitza is done, it's over. And Rashi adds, Einachar bia klum as well. These are straightforward cases. Okay, so we discussed 4 types of scenarios. He initiated with a mamar, followed with something else. He initiated with a get followed with other things. Or started with chalitza or started with yibum. In the last two cases, straightforward. Chalitza or yibum, that's the final word. In the previous two cases, you started with a mamar or with a get. Those are only effective with the Rabbanon. Then we have to treat each case differently and address whatever happened there. This halacha applies whether it's achas, yevama achas, whether it's one yevama, liyavam echad, who was attended to by one yavam, as we explained, and he did all these processes to the same isha. Or, alternatively, it can be v'achas shtei yavamas, liyavam echad. You have one yavam, Shimon, who was confronted by two yavamas from the same family, Rachel and Leah. The same idea, the same halachas would apply there as well. Just one slight difference. Instead of doing mamar and get to the same yavama, he went back and forth. He did mamar to this one and then mamar to the other one, or mamar to this one and get to the other one. It's basically the same concept, but it's just distributed amongst two people instead of focusing on just one. Ketzad, how does this pan out? Also, mamar bezu, mamar bezu. This, of course, is Shitas Rabbanon, that you can actually duplicate the same process and deem it effective, right? As we had in the beginning of the Mishnah. So he has Rachel and Leah. He applies Mama to Rachel and Mama to Leah. So what's the solution here? A double get and chalitza is required. He can no longer do yibum at all because, as Rashi explained, he already connected to two yavamas, and that's problematic. Shnei batim, you can't do that. So the fact that he duplicated his mamar, the fact that he applied mama to Rachel and to Leah, takes yibum off the table. Rather, he'll give a get to Rachel to delete her mamar, a get to Leah to delete her mamar, v'chalitza and a chalitza to one of them to address the zik. Let's say he does mamar bezu, he does mamar to Rachel, makes some sort of connection with the Rabbanon, a get lezu and a get to Leah. So basically, as Rashi explains, the get to Leah interferes with the mama to Rachel because he's created a disconnect between himself and the family. Again, we treat the family as one unit. If he disconnects from Leah through this get, which is effective with the Rabbanon, that affects Rachel as well, he can no longer approach her and do yibum. So what do? Tzricha get. She needs a get, meaning Rachel, to take the mamar away. V'chalitza, and then a chalitza to one of them to address the zika, which was never really addressed. Here's the third case. Mamar bezu, he did mamar to Rachel, ubal ezu, and lived with Leah as married. That's a problem because once he connected with Rachel, he can't connect with Leah. It's the same family. What do you do here? It's tzricha is beis git and v'chalitza. You need a double get, one to Rachel to address her mamar, and one to Leah to address the be'ilah, and then v'chalitza, of course, to address the family. Mamar bezu v'chalatzazu. This is the last case. You have mamar to Rachel and chalitza to Leah. So the fact that he did chalitza to Leah in this case can't really help Rachel because she's been connected through mamar. Her rishon tzricha get. In this case, you need to apply a get to Rachel as well. So in all these cases, mamar was number one, followed by either mamar get, be'ilah, or chalitza. Let's move on to the next category. Get being number one. Get lezu, he does a get to Rachel, the get lezu, and then a get to Leah. Tzricha is himenu chalitza. Again, we're speaking about shitas rabbanon, that you can duplicate the same process, get and get, and therefore both are considered valid. He's also to marry relatives of either isha, who he sort of divorced, but of course, a chalitza is still required because get doesn't really properly address the zikas yibum. What if it was get lezu, get to Rachel, uba lezu, and then he was bayal Leah? He can't hold on to Leah because once he applied a get to Rachel, he's sort of disconnected from the family. Again, midrabanan, a get is treated similar to chalitza. So what do you do now? Tzricha get. So Leah, who had to be ilah, needs a get to address that. V'chalitza, but then they need a chalitza, one of them, to address the zika. Get lezu, he does get to Rachel, mamar bezu, and follows with mamar to Leah. Tzricha get. In this case, Leah needs a get to address the mamar, to remove that bond. V'chalitza, and the family needs a chalitza. Get lazu, he does get to Rachel. V'cholas lazu, and a chalitza to Leah. Show's over. Ein acha chalitza klum. Once chalitza was done, you've arrived. That's the final word, and nothing can follow that. So we discussed one Yavam addressing two Yevamos. He mixed things up. He applied all kinds of processes. He started with a mamar, followed by other things, or he started with a get, followed by others. We have all the halachas in all the cases. What if he started with chalitza, or he started with being boil? Right? Chalatz v'chalatz. He did chalitza to Rachel, followed by chalitza to Leah. Or chalatz v'asa mamar, or chalitza to Rachel, followed by mamar to Leah, or nasan get to Leah, or baal to Leah. Or alternatively, he started with a be'ilah. Chalitza and be'ilah have carry different weight, totally different value, as we learned in the first part of the Mishnah. So if you started with a chalitza, or you started with a be'ilah, which is effective min ha'Torah, or baal with Rachel, or baal as Leah, or baal to Rachel, of asa mamar, did mamar to Leah, or followed with a get to Leah, or chalitza to Leah, nasan get v'chalatz. Once again, we follow the rule that chalitza and be'ilah are absolute. Ein achar chalitza klum. Chalitza is the final word, and likewise be'ilah as well. It's over. There's nothing to follow. It's a totally disconnection. Chalitza dissolves the zika altogether, and yibum solidifies. And mekayim, the mitzvah, there's nothing that can follow that, and nothing that can interfere. This whole halacha applies whether it's one yavam addressing two yavamas, as we explained, and he went from one to the other, or you can have the opposite. You can have two brothers, two yavamin, addressing one yavama. It's just the same idea, just flipped around. Instead of one fellow doing mamar to Rachel and mamar to Leah, you have one yavama, Rachel, and two brothers, Shimon and Levi. Shimon doing mamar to Rachel and Levi doing mamar to Rachel, or Shimon doing mamar to Rachel and Levi doing a get to Rachel. It's the same idea, just instead of two women, it's two men. Ben yavam echad or shtei yavamis, whether it's one man and two women. Ben shtei yavamin, livam achas, or two brothers with one woman. Concludes the Mishnah. Pretty much a recap of the halacha that we just said, that chalitza is the final word and yibum is the final word. Chalatz, and then he followed with other things. After chalitza, he did mamar, v'asa mamar, or nasan get, or ubal, or alternatively, he started with a be'ilah and followed with something else. They can't interfere, because chalitza and be'ilah are absolute and override everything. Baal, he started with a be'ilah, and then he followed through with a mamar to the other woman, v'asa mamar, v'nasan get, v'chalatz. It's over. Ein acha chalitza klum. Chalitza is the final word, and nothing else can interfere. And the same thing with bia. Bein betchila, bein be'emtza, bein be'soif. When it comes to chalitza, it's irrelevant where it is placed in the sequence of events. Whether it was the first event, or the middle event, or the last event, once chalitza is done, that's it. Show's over. Be'ilah, as opposed to be'ilah, that depends. Bizman shehi betchila. If be'ilah was the first event, right? He had two yevamos and he did be'ilah to Rachel, and then followed with other types of things with Leah. So if yibum was the first one, which is a proper yibum, then we say ein acharei klum. That's the final word. Nothing else can follow. Nothing else can interfere. But be'emtza u'besoif, if the be'ilah took place somewhere in the middle, at the end of the sequence, in which case it was already preceded by other interfering factors. There was a get that preceded it, etc., etc. Yesher acharei klum. In that case, the bia isn't a proper bia and can be affected by other things which follow it. So when it comes to chalitza, wherever it is placed in the sequence of events, it's absolute. It's the final word. But be'ilah depends if it's a be'ilah ksheira or not. Reb Nechemya Omer says no, there's no difference. Let's remember, the only two things that are min ha'Torah is be'ilah and chalitza, and therefore, irrespective of its placement in the sequence of events, it has absolute value and overrides everything else. Reb Nechemya Omer achas be'ilah v'achas chalitza, one or the other, bein betchila, bein be'emtza, bein be'soif, whether it is the initiation of the process, middle or the end, ein acharei klum. Nothing can follow it, nothing can interfere. Okay, so we learned an interesting concept in our Mishnah, that not only can Yibum or Chalitza affect the Yevama, Midrabanan we treat and get in similar fashion to Chalitza, and Mamar is treated similarly to Yibum. Why? Ad kan like pligi ela b'get achar get. Going back to the beginning of the Mishnah. Sure, there's a machlekes between Ram and Gamliel who says you can't duplicate the same thing. Can't do a get and then be affected by another get. Mamar achar mamar. Or when it comes to duplicating mamar, you can't just double it over. That's the Ram Gamliel. Chacham say you can. Each one has its own effect. That's the machlekes. But in concept, aval get echad b'yivama, but one get applied to one yivama, or mamar echad b'yivama, one mamar applied to yivama, mahani, that has an impact. My timer. Why? Amar Rabbanan get b'yivama mahani. Why do we treat a get as something effective when it comes to yivama? Answers the Gemara. Mishum de mahani ba'am. A get is valid elsewhere by a regular isha, disconnects, right? And therefore, the amras le mahani, when it comes to yibum, if we're not going to reckon with a get and not consider it a disconnector, and allow yibum to take place even after a get was issued, you know what could happen? The following could happen. Amri, people will say, look, we're not learned, we're not experts. Let's take a superficial look at things. Get lohoitzia, a get disconnects an isha, right? Typically a get dissolves a marriage. V'chalitza lohoitzia, likewise when it comes to the yibum circumstance, chalitza has the same effect. Get mahani, and if we say that get is ineffective by yivama, doesn't have any impact, chalitza nami mahani. Likewise, even if you do chalitza, it doesn't have any impact. What's going to happen? He does chalitza and then he goes over and he does yibum, not realizing there's a big difference, huge difference between a get, which is not meant for a yivama, and therefore it's not reckoned with, as opposed to chalitza, which is the process meant to be applied to a yivama. So the point is, since get and chalitza are so close in nature, so similar in what they're meant to do, if we don't reckon with the get, people might ignore chalitza as well, and after chalitza they'll say, well, just as the get doesn't work, chalitza doesn't either make a permanent disconnecting, you can do bia after chalitza, whether to her or to the other yivam. So the bottom line is, we treat get like chalitza. And now yibum is no longer an option. Likewise, why do Rabbanan consider mamar as an effective tool by yivama? Because typically, mamar, which is another form of saying kiddushin, that works by a regular isha, makes a connection, forms that bond. And therefore, if we ignore it by yibum, people will say, well, same like the time of the concern of the chalitza and the get. The amras le mahani. If we don't reckon with mamar by yivama, amri, people might say, they might draw the following conclusion: mamar liknes, ubia liknes. Mamar is a form of acquisition. It's a kinyan kedushin. Ubia liknes. Likewise, bia does the same by the yivama. Umad mamar le mahani. Just as mamar doesn't have any effect on the yivama, bia nami le mahani. Bia as well doesn't have an effect. Vasilim b'lachar bia. And if you do bia to Rachel, he'll follow and do bia with Leah the next yivama. He won't realize a big difference. Sure, mamar doesn't work by yivama. It's not meant to work, but bia does. So to avoid any erroneous conclusions, Chacham say, you know what? Let's treat get like chalitza and mamar like bia. Umay time Rabbanan. Another shayla. Why do Rabbanan consider the following halacha? Why do they say that bia psulo yesh achirei klum? That if you have a bia which was done in a less than ideal situation, Rashi says, for instance, the case where he had two yivamis. He started with mamar to Rachel, followed by bia to Leah. That is considered bia pesula. You know why? Because he can't really be miyabim Leah at this point once he connected with Rachel. What does the Mishnah say? What's the solution in this case? You need two gittin, one to Rachel for the mamar that you did with her, and one to Leah for the bia that you did with her, and then a chalitza to address the zika, which was never really addressed properly, because remember, the bia with Leah was a bia psula because it followed the mamar to Rachel, which doesn't allow anymore bia to Leah. Can't marry this two Yevamos from the same household, right? Why is it that we consider that bia psula as a something which only has a partial effect? Bia psula yesh achrei klum. We still treat her as their zakuk liyibam. We don't say, look, just to get to the second isha, to Leah who had the bia, and that's it. It's over. No. We still see zika here. We still have to do chalitza. We do not treat the bia and the get as something which addressed the zika. Why? Because it was a bia psula. Why not? Why can't it remove the zika? Why can't it fulfill the mitzvah of yibum, so to speak, and remove the zika? Answers the Gemara. Amri, the Bnei Yeshiva explained as follows. Here as well, there's room for gezerah, room for confusion, which we're trying to avoid. Okay, let's go down the options. What does bia psula mean? It means that it followed something else, something preceded that bia, right? Which disqualified the bia, and therefore the bia is not considered an effective bia, and the zik wasn't really addressed, right? Let's go down the various scenarios where this can happen. If there was a get first to Rachel, followed by bia to Leah, in this case we can truly understand why Chacham say, you know what, this bia which followed the get should not be treated like a regular yibum. It can't remove the zika. You know why? Because otherwise, if we're going to treat this bia as something of value, something which is truly effective and can be considered a fulfillment of the zika, of the mitzvahs of yibum, you know what can happen? Gzeira bia achar get. It can be confused with a bia which followed a get. Gzeira bia achar get mishum bia achar chalitza. We're concerned that treating bia which follows a get, as we just explained, as a proper bia, that can create confusion and can lead to bia being treated as such even after a chalitza was done to Rachel. That's truly problematic. Because once you do chalitza to Rachel, you may not do bia to Leah. Again, if we treat bia which was done after a get to Rachel and bia to Leah, we treat that bia as something of value because, well, bia is absolute. That's the top of the line. That's the ideal mitzvah sibum, and that really is going to be Makai mitzvah sibum. And people might think to themselves, look, wow, bia is so powerful. That's a true fulfillment of mitzvah sibum. That could follow anything. Even after chalitza, you can do bia. Even after having done chalitza to Rachel, you can do bia to Leah, because bia is just absolute. That's the final word. That supersedes and overrides anything done beforehand. And that's truly problematic, because once you do chalitza to Rachel, you may not do bia to Leah. It's an isser. Perhaps even an Erev Minat Torah. Okay, so that's understood, pretty clear. There's room for confusion there. V'i bia achar mamarhi. Another variation of bia psula is bia following mamar, right? Mamar to Rachel and bia to Leah. Right, what's the halacha? Mishnah says you can't treat the bia as something which really addresses the zika, because it's a bia psula. You have to do a get to Rachel for the mamar, or get to Leah for the bia, and do a chalitza to address the zika. Why? Why don't we just treat this bia as a proper yibum? Once again, it can arouse confusion. Gzeira bia achar mamar, we're concerned about this case, mishum bia achar bia. If you treat bia after mamar as an absolute item of value, it might lead to doing the same after bia was done to Rachel, and then followed by bia with Leah. Say, well, bia achar bia is amazing. Bia has the power to override, to supersede, to set the final tone even after a previous bia. And of course, that's tremendously mistaken, erroneous, because you're doing Isa Eshesach. Once you are Miyabim Rachel, you may not marry Leah. It's Isha Eshesach. So on account of these reasons, which is pretty much one and the same reason, we treat a bia psula as puzzle. We don't give it the same value as a proper bia, and we still reckon with the chalitza as though it's here and unaffected by that bia. We don't want to give bia too much value because then you might take it for a ride. One more halacha. Why the same when it comes to chalitza psula? My time Rabbanon hay chalitza psula ein acharei klum. Oh, here comes a kasha. The other way around. By chalitza we don't find this concern. We learn in the Mishnah that if he executes chalitza, wherever it is, the beginning of the sequence, the middle, the end, meaning even if it's followed by a get or a mamar, even if it was preceded by a get or a mamar, in which case a chalitza is chalitza psula. Why is a chalitza psula, by the way? You may remember we had this a little while ago. Chalitza psula means that, you see, ideally chalitza is an alternative to yibum. Let's say a get was issued to Rachel, and then he did chalitza to Leah. That chalitza is psula because there's no option to do yibum at that point. It's not a yibum enabled situation. That's called chalitza psula. So why is it that when it comes to yibum, we just learned that bia psula yesh acharei klum? It's not the final word. It doesn't really address the zika. We don't treat it as a proper bia because of the reasons we just mentioned. In contrast to chalitza, even when it's puzzle, when it was preceded by something else which disqualifies the chalitza because it disqualifies the yibum, it's not yibum enabled. The chalitza psula ein acharei klum. That's it. It's the final word. You don't have to follow it anything. That chalitza sort of addresses the zika. What's the difference? Answer is very practical. Amri, the Bnei Yeshiva answers like this. My ligzer, in this case of chalitza, there is no room for gezer, no room for confusion. Why? Nigzer chalitza achar aget. What are you proposing? Chalitza that followed a get to Rachel, chalitza to Leah. The Mishnah says that chalitza is the final word. Nothing can happen afterwards. What are you suggesting? No. Do not treat this chalitza as a proper chalitza. You know why? Mishum chalitza achar chalitza. Because then people might think, well, yeah, it's in place to do a chalitza even after chalitza. Look, chalitza after a get is a disconnector. Chalitza after the get is effective. Likewise, when you do chalitza to Rachel, you do chalitza to Leah. Because it makes sense to follow a disconnector with another disconnector. Okay, so big deal. Kol kihani tachlitz v'tezel. Go ahead, do chalitza as many times as you want. What's the worst case scenario? You had chalitza done to Rachel. We'll decide, well, I have to do chalitza to Leah as well. Because it's not an avera. Kol kihani tachlitz v'tezel. Ligzer chalitza achar mamar. What about the other case? You started with a mamar to Rachel, and then you did chalitza to Leah. Mishnah tells you chalitza is the final word. No, maybe we should not treat it as such because of the following concern. It might create confusion. You might get the impression that chalitza is such a powerful tool, it works after anything. Just like it works after mamar, which is a connector. If it's followed by chalitza to the other wife, the other Yevamos, it works. Likewise, it can work even after Yibum. People will not differentiate between Mamar, which is a connector, and Yibum, which is a connector. Mishum chalitza achar bia. It might lead to them applying chalitza after bia as well, which is certainly problematic. They'll say, look, if Mama to Rachel followed by chalitza to Leah works, bia to Rachel followed by chalitza to Leah will work as well. Sorry, Rashi actually says chalitza to that same Yevamos. Again, if you say chalitza after mama works, so it's going to lead to chalitza after bia, which means like this: you did bia to Rachel, you follow with chalitza to Rachel and send her off. Rashi says people will think a Yevama knusa is yoytzes b'chalitza b'loy get. That's of course very, very untrue. Once you marry the Yevama, she's your wife. You have to divorce her with a get if you wish to do so, but you can't just apply chalitza. And people won't realize this. They'll say, wow, chalitza is such a powerful tool. It works even after anything. Even in a case of chalitza psula, even if it was preceded by other processes, such as mamar, it can work after bia as well. You can go apply chalitza to the yivama who you miyavim. So why aren't we concerned with that confusion, that possible confusion? Answers the Gemara. Let's pay attention to the halacha of the Mishnah. We never said that in this case, which case? A case where you did mamar to Rachel, followed by chalitza to Leah. That chalitza is absolute and nothing more is needed. We never said that. Take a look at the Mishnah. Mamar to Rachel, chalitza to Leah. You need a get to address the mamar, right? We're just saying after the chalitza was done, nothing else could come along and interfere. It's the final word. But you still have to address the mamar that preceded the chalitza, right? It's a clear halach in the Mishnah, right? It's mamar lazu, chalas lazu, harishon, it's a get. Of course you need a get for the mamar. So that's the teretz to the kasha. Once you require a get to address that first mamar, then there's no room for concern. Atu chalitza achar mamar. Miloi boya get l'mamaroi. In this case of chalitza, which was after the mamar, don't you know that you need a get to address the mamar that was done before the chalitza? Right? So, chalitza achar bia nami, boya get l'biyase. What are you concerned that it might lead to them doing a chalitza after bia? Right? That was your concern. If chalitza is so powerful that it could even be deemed effective after a mamar was already done, perhaps we'll do the same after bia, right? Okay, fine. What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen in that case? You're still going to do a get to the bia, because just like over here, in the case where it was mamar then chalitza, nobody said the chalitza is the only thing you need. Chalitza is the final word. Nothing else can follow. Nothing else can interfere anymore. Chalitza is done. Process has arrived. Has been concluded, right? But it's not to say that you still have to. You don't have to address. You still have to address the mamar with a get. So, worst case scenario, if you do yibum and then you follow with chalitza, nobody's going to say chalitza on its own can remove the bond created by the yibum. They'll still go ahead and apply a get. Chalitza achar bia nami. Even in the case where you did bia to the isha and then followed the chalitza, nobody's going to suffice with that. Boya get l'biyase. They'll still do a get to the bia, just like over here we require a get for the mamar, which preceded the chalitza. And guess what? Once you do that, you're safe. Chalitza was unnecessary, but the yibum was addressed with a get. That's fine. So there's no room for confusion. So the bottom line is, based on this whole back and forth, a bia psula is not really considered the end of the road, whereas a chalitza psula is. So in conclusion, there are 4 possible processes applied to a Yevamos. In our Torah we have the Be'ila, we have the chalitza. The Rabbanan treated mamar similar to bia because both are connectors, and get similar to chalitza because both are disconnectors. We have 2 parts to the Mishnah. We have one yavam dealing with one yavama, or we have a case where there are 2 individuals, whether it's 2 yavamis or 2 yavamin. We have 4 possible categories with many variations. We have category 1 where he starts with a mamar, follows with other things. Category number 2 started with a get, followed by others. Then we have 3 and 4 where there was a be'ila and chalitza as number 1. In that case, there's no discussion. Of course, the be'ila, that's the final word, and chalitza as well. But if he started with a mamar, and followed with another mamar, so in this case, well, if it's one yavam to one yavama, that certainly doesn't make sense, because you can't do the same process twice to the same isha. Right? If it's mamar and then get, you need chalitza, because the get removed the mamar, but chalitza is still needed for the zikas yibum, which was never addressed. Mamar and then chalitza, Chalitza is great, but you still need a get to address the mamar connection. Mamar and Baal, it's over. And the Beila is a full mitzvahs, kiyum of mitzvahs yibam. What about, there are two individuals here. One brother addressing two Yevamos. Or likewise, if it's two brothers addressing one Yevam, let's just focus on the first case. One Yavam with two Yevamos. You have Rachel and Leah. So Shimon, the single brother here, does Mamar to Rachel, followed by Mamar to Leah. This, of course, is in line with Shitas Chachamim, right? In the first part of the Mishnah, we had the Chachamim, that one can actually duplicate the same thing with two women. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He says you can't duplicate the same thing. But according to Rabbanon, that's the line of the Mishnah. We're following Shitas Chachamim. So in this case, he does Mama to Rachel, Mama to Leah. Rachel needs a get, and Leah needs a get to address their Mama, to remove the Mamar effect, and then there's a Chalitza needed to address the Zikas Yibam. Mama to Rachel and get to Leah. So there needs to be a get to remove the Mama from Rachel, and then a Chalitza to address the Zikas Yibam. Mamar to Rachel, followed by Chalitza to Leah. We still need one more get to address the Mamar, to remove that effect from Rachel. Mamar to Rachel and Baal es Leah. This Beila is in effect a psula, because it was followed by a Mamar to Rachel, which makes that connection already, and you can't connect the two Yevamos. In that case, they need two gittin, one for Rachel's Mamar, one for Leah's Beila, and then a Chalitza to address the Zik. Okay, so we covered the first category with all its various variations. What if we started with a get? Let's go back to one Yavam with a single Yavam. Get followed by a get, that's obviously impossible with the same person. Get followed by a Mamar, so you need a get to address the Mamar, and Chalitza to address the Zika. Get followed by Chalitza, show's over. Get followed by Be'ila, that Be'ila is now Be'ila Psula, because it was preceded by a get. You need a get to address that Be'ila, and Chalitza to address the Zika. Let's move on to double two Yevamos. He does a get to Rachel and a get to Leah. Once again, Shitas Chachamim is that even if you duplicate, each one has an effect and an impact, and you're also to marry the relatives of either one. But Chalitza still needed to address these Zikas Yibam. Get to Rachel with Mamar to Leah. You need a get to address the Mamar, and Chalitza to address the Zika. Get to Rachel and Chalitza to Leah. Chalitza is the final word. Get to Rachel and you have Boil as Leah. You need a get to address the Boil. It's a Be'ila Psula because it was followed by a get. And then you still need a Chalitza to address the Zikas Yibam. Why? Why is it that we consider Mamar an effective process and get something which has an effect? Whereas Minat Torah, only Yibam and Chalitza are treated as such. The more explained because Mamar is reminiscent of Bia and get reminiscent to Chalitza. We have one more halacha in the Mishnah regarding the power of Chalitza and Yibam. According to Tanakama, whenever Chalitza is done, at whichever slot in the sequence, it's the final word. Whereas when it comes to Be'ila, if it's a Be'ila Kshera, fine, but otherwise, it's not considered the final word. Whereas Rabbi Nechemia says, Be'ila and Chalitza are all considered the final word, irrespective of their placement in the sequence of events. All the best to you, and much, much hatzlacha.